back. We're live here to talk college football playoff and New Year's Six bowls. Excuse me. Before we do that, Seth, how we doing?
Doing great, man. Ready for college football to kick off the bowl week, and we've had some good college basketball to keep us complacent until football swings back around.
I love it. Hey, you kind of started hot. You're 4-1-1 right now.
4-1.
I'm not.
Yep, we had that unfortunate push.
Yeah.
I forgot what game it was, but all I know is he had two
Iona.
free throws at the very two free throws at the very end. It's just the one thing you can never guarantee is a college kid making a free throw.
Yeah. So, but hey, I mean, a push is better than a loss. But 4-1-1, good start. We're gonna keep it going. I am not so fortunate. On the other hand, I'm 1-3 right now, but I'm gonna get it back up. I'm gonna pause and get it back up. But good thing we're back in football.
Yeah, you've carried football, and you're going to have to toss the helm over a little bit for basketball. It's a little more my specialty. So
yeah, I know.
We balance each other out. It's perfect.
Let's do it. So we decided to let these lines settle in before we talk about the college football playoff. And so there's been a little movement on Michigan TCU side, no movement, half a point movement, I guess, for Georgia, Ohio State. Now we're going to run through our analysis and our picks, but beware. We will circle back if something drastic changes, if somebody's out, if the line changes. I just want to make that clear. But, in certain instances, if we can get lines early, that's what we want. Let's start off with Georgia, Ohio State. This one's weird. I'm going to go ahead and line up what's going on with the public. 88% of the public is on Georgia 6.5. The line opened at 7, and it's 6.5 now, even after the heavy public betting. So something immediately off the bat is fishy. But let's go to the matchup. Obviously, both teams are coming. They have plenty of time to prepare. Ohio State a little more so than Georgia, but it doesn't matter because it's a full month nearly. Now, Ohio State, Jackson Smith-Njigba, he's out. He has injury problems. He's opting out, so they will be without him. But it's fine because they have Jalen. They have Marvin Harrison Jr. still. I'm not too worried about one receiver for this Ohio State offense. They also get Trayvon Henderson back, so they should be near fully healthy minus one of their receivers. Defense is also getting healthy, and I fully expect everybody to be good to go with a month's rest. Same on Georgia's side. We saw Ladd McConkey go out. He was a little bit injured, but I fully expect him to go too, as he's a lot more prevalent to this Georgia offense than people realize. 6.5 is a weird number. When it started at 7, still one possession touchdown favorite. I like it initially, and I'm not going to lie. Like when I first saw this, my snap reaction was Georgia's going to beat the brakes off of them, especially with what they did to LSU, how they've closed off the year, what Michigan did to Ohio State. But recency bias is hell of a drug. And so I kind of want to crack this open a little bit more and dive into matchup, numbers, and the narrative. But let's go off the matchup first. Everybody knows how good Ohio State's offense was throughout the year, but they have the fact that their schedule wasn't that great. And so some of these numbers might be padded, but they're still good. They're number 1 in EPA margin, 5 overall in offensive success rate, 9 overall in defensive success rate. Very fluid. And same with Georgia on the other side. Number 3 in EPA margin, 4 in offensive success rate, 8 in defensive success rate. So we're really on paper looking at two teams that are nearly identical. Now, Georgia gets to nod because they played the extra game and better quality opponents. And that's an objective statement. Ohio State fans would probably tell you differently, but it is an objective statement to say Georgia played the tougher schedule. Now, let's flip the narrative. Ohio State, they want revenge. They want Michigan, and they want it bad. They got embarrassed on live TV, and they want to come back and get after the Georgia Bulldogs and prove that they can be number 1. They have the roster to do so, and nobody actually likes to acknowledge this, but in terms of recruiting rankings and talent power rankings for the roster, Ohio State actually gets the nod. They have just as good as a roster as Georgia, if not better, in terms of talent. So the talent's there, but the question is the coaching. And last year we saw what Georgia did to Michigan, given a month to prepare. and they just beat the shit out of Michigan. There's no other way to say it. That's just what happened. But you have over here, you have the matchup on paper that looks all great, and then you have the eye test on film where it's like Ohio State played a softer schedule. Georgia, you watch them, and then you end the game like, I don't know who's going to be able to beat them, period. And then you got the narrative, which gives Ohio State uh, a little bit more of a nod coming into this. But spread 6.5, total 62. What are you taking? What do you think of this matchup?
I'm just going to be blunt. I love Ohio State plus 6.5 here. So if you sit here and you look at this game, like even from a casual standpoint, you could basically say this is going to be Ohio State's offense against Georgia defense. I feel like that's the main matchup that's going to be a focus in this game. Again, and to your point, a lot of people are going to make it's kind of objective whether, who's played the harder schedule. But if I'm being straight up honest and blunt, even if Georgia played an easier SEC schedule, I'm going to give them the nod for experience, for playing tougher games, playing in tougher, not necessarily tougher environments, but overall, I would give the nod to Georgia in that sense. But again, whenever you have a spread that doesn't really move and the public is hammering one side, it just kind of always shouts to me that Vegas knows something that the public doesn't. Mm-hmm. And again, so I am going to lay an official pick, but however, I am going to encourage you to buy half a point. I'm going to juice a little bit. I'm going to take Ohio State plus 7 in this matchup.
I really like that, and I wish I sprinkled the 7 early, just to at least like get the comfort of maybe a push and get my money back. But my when I was thinking about this game, I had a harder time picking for this game than I did Michigan TCU. I have mine. I've locked away what I'm going to pick for that game. We can get to that later. But this one I had such a tough time with due to like all of these external factors, what the public's doing, and to be quite frank, Georgia. What do we make of some of these games earlier in the year? What do we make against the game against Kentucky when it was like 15-9? Missouri, Kent State. What do you make of these games? And it's like they can do it. Will they do it? I don't know. And so it's just so hard because this Georgia team, you don't know who's showing up. And we said it again in the SEC championship breakdown. We got it right. We picked Georgia on the points, and they easily did that. But one of the things that we talked about was I feel like we've been here before with Georgia, and they've burnt us. It's been some like cushioned spread, and we're like, Georgia, man, they're definitely going to do it, and then they burnt us. And so I don't know what to make of this Georgia team. It's really hard to like be comfortable, and I mean, there's a lot of people that are very, very like Georgia's going to kick the shit out of Ohio State, and I can understand why, because they can definitely do it, but it's like, who are we going to get? Who's going to show up? Who's going to be the better coach that day? I don't know, because Ryan Day has a lot to prove. And I was listening to a podcast a week and a half ago, and it was talking about how Ohio State fans are like calling for Ryan Day's head, which is crazy. But I mean, there's 3 things you do at Ohio State. You beat Michigan, you win the Big Ten, and you win playoffs, and that's it. And he has not done any of those.
Right, losing back-to-back years against Michigan is definitely a big reason why. Because I have friends at Ohio State, and I've seen that firsthand. It's like, how can this coach go 12 or 11-1, and you've got this fan base just trying to crucify him? It's crazy. Exactly. I mean, they got so used to Urban Meyer and what he did there that it's almost just like, it's kind of like Alabama and Nick Saban. They're here in a New Year's Six Bowl at 10-2, number 5 in the playoff rankings, and they're like, "This is our worst year we've had in forever." I'm like, just shut up, please. Right?
But it's so weird. Like, this game is so polarizing. There's the numbers telling me to go and take Ohio State in 7. Even by a point. I wish I sprinkled 7 because that would have given me a little bit more of a layback, but my model gave us 34-30. So it likes Ohio State to cover. It still likes Georgia to win, which is fine. That's kind of how I'm feeling. But for watching the Michigan game, it might be hard for Ohio State to score 24, but it's like, let's circle back to Georgia versus Tennessee. Still pains me to talk about, but Georgia scored 21 quick, and then they laid off the gas pedal through it twice the entire second half. And so that could happen in a game like this. They just want to get in and out, and they want to win. They don't really care to get – there's no reason for style points. So, if this game is 24-20, I see that. That's my envisioning of how this game goes. But it's crazy because the total is 62, 61 and a half. And it's 62 and a half on DraftKings. So there's some books that are still pushing that number up. And it begs me to believe that both teams will score points, because I don't think this is going to be lopsided either which way. Maybe Georgia can hold Ohio State, but I feel like they have to score at some point, right?
Right.
So weird game. It's like my heart is telling me, Georgia, they're gonna kick the shit out of Ohio State. It's not gonna be close, but my looking at everything on paper, my mind is telling me to take Ohio State in the touchdown.
That's exactly how I felt. That's why I just straight up made an official pick. I'm not going to second guess it. I'm going to buy half a point, and I'm riding with Ohio State +7.
I hope it's interesting. And I mean, in a game like this, you'd expect it to be kind of close.
Yeah, I'm sick of the playoff games that are blowouts. I'm sick of the Notre Dames, the Cincinnati, or whatever. Give us a 1-4 that has fireworks and is a close game. That's all we want. That's all us college football fans want.
I was gonna bring up something, but I'll go ahead and bring it up now because it's relevant. Since 2018, there's been one college football semifinal that has been a single possession game.
Yeah, that's tough.
It was Clemson. It was Clemson and Ohio State in 2019 or something. I don't remember the year, but
right.
Both of them have been 2 possession wins. So crazy.
Yeah, give us something better. This year.
Exactly. And we talked about it last show in our college football playoff reaction. I sprinkled Ohio State plus 1,400 because I was like, hey, all it takes is one of these games to go haywire and they're in. And so I would love Ohio State to win as much as it would pain me. I hate Ohio State, but financially it would be awesome.
Right.
Because, but yeah, man, the paper says, the model says Ohio State and a touchdown, they cover. As bad as my heart wants to do it, I have to trust, the numbers, man. That's what has carried me here, and that's what I'm going to keep doing. So put it on the board unconfidently, but that's what we're doing.